As Australia prepares to mark the 100th anniversary of the Gallipoli landings, a group of young Sydney-siders are following in the footsteps of our diggers. They've travelled to Turkey for a mateship trek to learn about the sacrifices made and the hardship endured on both sides of the trenches.
With the sun rising over the hills and gullies of Gallipoli, this group of young Australians is following in the footsteps of thousands of Anzac soldiers.
It was important for our people to get up onto that high ground.
No easy task, even today.
The amount of effort you put into going up that hill, it basically tires you out so much you don't realise it, and you can't even imagine it 100 years ago, how hard it would have been.
Like many Aussies, 23-year-old Ersoy Derivarinelli has relatives who fought at Gallipoli, but his Turkish great-grandfathers were trying to stop the invading Anzacs.
I think it's a lovely thing. I'm stuck right in the middle. You know, I can appreciate both sides of the story.
He's one of 9 young Aussies taking part in the 4th Mateship trek, organised by Labor MP Jason Clare and Liberal Scott Morrison to mark 100 years since the Gallipoli landings and to help strengthen bonds between their electorates that cover Sydney's western suburbs and beachside Cronulla.
I think what this shows us is that we've got more in common than we realise, and we might come from all corners of the earth if we're Australians, but there's something about Australia that rubs off on you, and these men remind us of why it's special to be Australian. They sacrificed their lives for us.
But as the group discovered, there were acts of bravery, heroism and sacrifice from both sides in the battles for the Gallipoli Peninsula that raged in 1915.
We're standing on 620 unidentified bodies, the remains of a battalion that fought and died here in the face of a massive Turkish counterattack.
In amongst the dense shrubbery that now covers the hillsides, there's still evidence of the fierce combat.
So it sat there and they just pushed it down, all 5 rounds dropped in there. Get rid of it.
The hills are also dotted with grave sites, not just Australian but Turkish, Kiwi, British and Indian. And at the famous Lone Pine Cemetery, moments of silent reflection to pay respect to the fallen, some as young as just 15.
Never actually realised how many graves there were, how many, sites there were where people were buried, how many battlefields there were.
Many of the soldiers who made it out of here alive returned home with severe post-traumatic stress disorder, and the trekkers were told that today's soldiers often face a similar battle. Recognising the need to address that hidden death toll, the group has raised thousands of dollars for Soldier On. In doing so, carrying on the legendary Anzac spirit of mateship, and on the battlegrounds that robbed so many men of their mates, they're making the most of their time together to forge new friendships.
Having this experience together is what's going to keep us friends for the rest of our lives.
In Gallipoli, Andrew Lund, 9 News.